Hello, and now let's tackle the part 2 of our module 1, which is the laboratory apparatus. Now, the question may arise here, Sir, bakit po ba merong specific glasswares na ginagamit sa laboratory such as beaker, Erlenmeyer flask, and graduated cylinder steering rod? Sir, pwede naman po tayong gawin ng baso, plato, kutsara na lamang sa may laboratory. Ba't kailangan pa natin gawin ng mga glasswares? Kasi magastos pa po yun at mahal. Okay. Ang one kasi dito, guys, is each glassware has its own purpose. Let's say Beaker and Erlenmeyer flask has both volume reading, pero magkaiba yung accuracy nila and purpose of their uses in the experiment. Now, isa-isahin natin ang mga laboratory apparatus na karaniwang ginagamit sa may chemistry laboratory or sa may laboratory natin. Now, unang-una, pinaka-most common na ginagamit natin is yung beaker. The purpose of the beaker is to hold solids and liquids that will not release gases when reacted and that are unlikely to splattered if stirred or heated. Storage of solid and liquid and used for also measuring volumes. Also, conical flask or Erlenmeyer flask. Same purpose, holds solids and liquid. However, if magre-release ng gas, pwede siyang takpan using rubber stopper. Unlike sa may beaker, is mas malaki bibig. Now, ano ba ang advantage ng Erlenmeyer flask sa may beaker natin? Now, when we use a vigorous shaking, we can use a Erlenmeyer flask at hindi matatapon yung chemical na nandoon. Unlike sa may beaker, once you shake this vigorously, possible na tumapon yung chemical na ino-contain niya. Next is measuring cylinder or graduated cylinder. Bakit ba siya tinawag na graduated cylinder? Okay, kasi nga, tinawag na graduated cylinders, kapag binaliktad mo siya, is, ayan, may toga. Ay, okay, now, ito naman is used to measure volumes of liquids. Sir, meron din naman po yung reading yung Erlenmeyer flask and beaker na 200 na mga ml for volume reading. Now, mas accurate kasi guys, for volume measurement, ang graduated cylinder kaysa sa ating Erlenmeyer flask and beaker. Next is the test tubes. Ito, ginagamit ito when we observe the chemical reaction of the sample, either solid or liquid, and use also to contain solids and liquids. And then, test tube holder naman, syempre guys, when we are heating test tube, we are using test tube holder to hold the test tube. Kasi di naman kayang hawakan na mainit yun unless matibay kayo. Kung handa kayong kahit nasasaktan na kayo, hawak pa rin. Okay, next is the test tube rack. Now, the purpose of the test tube rack is to hold and organize the test tubes when conducting an experiment. Kung pwede, kaya nga meron tayo test tube is kasi para naman ilapag ninyo dyan yung mga sample ninyo under observation and hindi nyo na siya hawakan. Okay, next naman dito is the rubber bungs or the rubber stopper used to close Erlenmeyer flask or test tube when we are containing the sample na kung saan ayaw natin silang pasukan ng gas. Next is the watch glass. It's used to hold small amount of solid such as the product or reaction when we are observing that solid. Excuse me, watch glass. Next is the steering rod used to steer solutions. And pwede rin natin itong pang-transfer sa ating or transfer a drop of a liquid from flask to another flask. Now, kasi hindi kasi ako makakapag-demo dito guys since I don't have glasswares dito sa bahay. Laboratory glasswares dito sa bahay ko. Kaya, tignan na lang muna natin itong steering rod na ito. And then next is the funnel o yung embudo. Ito, meron naman ito sa may lab lang kasi glass siya. Meron tayong plastic funnel but that is not recommended to use kasi nga mahirap siyang linisin, nag-absorb doon yung mga chemicals. Kaya ang gamitin natin is glass funnel. which is used to aid in the transfer of liquid from one vessel to another. And next is meron tayong pipette. Actually, yung pipette is i-search nyo lang guys kasi hindi na pag-provide ng picture. But the pipette usually used by an aspirator. Mas accurate yung measurement niya because that is more calibrated than the graduated cylinder. And I want to demo guys, pero i-search nyo na lang muna and my apologies for that. Next is spatula. Spatula used to dispense solid from chemicals to their containers or pangkuha ng chemical doon sa kanilang mga respective reagent bottles. Next is the forceps is used to pick a small amount of objects kung hindi kaya ng daliri ninyo. Next is a scalpel used to cut. It is a sharp blade used to cut samples. It is an instrument used for surgery and dissections. Next is the burette, ang mahabang burette. Ito, yung pang-deliver ng exact volume of liquids. Which meron din siyang reading dito. Ang pinaka-most reading nito is 50 ml. 50 ml, guys. Ngayon, ito, mas accurate ito kaysa sa graduated cylinder in terms of volume reading. Itong burette. Okay, next, the Bunsen burner are used to heating non-volatile liquids or solids. Siyempre, ko-connect mo yung valve niya dun sa may gas. And then, voila! Merong anang apoy kapag sinindihan mo ng lighter ang Bunsen burner. Tapos, pwede rin tayong gumamit ng alcohol lamp. Alcohol lamp kapag hindi available ang Bunsen burner. Next is the tripod. Ito yung tripod. Ang nilalagay sa ilalim niyan is yung Bunsen burner when we are heating a substance. Now, ano bang nilalagay sa tripod? Ang nilalagay sa tripod is the wire gauze para makapag-distribute yung heat doon sa may flask na hinihit natin nang hindi siya may heat directly. Ito. Bunsen burner, nilalagay sa ilalim ng tripod at yung nilalagay sa ibabaw ng tripod ay yung wire gauze. And then, doon na tayo sa may flask kung saan natin nilalagay yung mga hinihit natin substance. And the next is the heatproof mat. Dito yung magpapatong ka. Dito mo ilalagay yung mainit na sample or the let's say beaker after heating para hindi ma-damage, to prevent damage to a work surface from a hot object. Ayun. And the next is the clay triangle. Usually, ang ginagamit dito is the crucible when we are heating a crucible. The clay triangle is used to support porcelain crucibles when heated over a Bunsen burner. Itong crucible naman is used to heat the solids or liquids, especially metal, at a very high temperature. Umaabot ito actually ng hanggang 2,500 degrees Celsius, which is hindi kinaaya ng ating mga glasswares kasi usually sila ay mga natutunaw. Pero crucible natin is a porcelain that is used to heat the samples at very high temperatures. Next, we have crucible tongs. Okay, this one is not used for picking beakers, but rather crucible. Kaya crucible tong kasi nga ang purpose niya is to hold the crucible. Kasi nga, di ba, hinihit natin yung crucible at very high temperature. Tapos, hahawaan nyo siya. Napakainit nun. Kaya, gagamit tayo ng crucible tong. Okay. And then, for evaporating dish, from the name itself, used for heating stable solid compounds so that we can evaporate its liquid and para matira lang solid. That is evaporating dish. And it also can heat at an extreme temperature since it is also a porcelain like crucible. And then, next natin is the clamp stand. Clamp stand is used to hold the test tubes or other equipments such as burette in its place, also known as ring stand. At ito yung mga component niya. Meron tayong hose, kung saan yung clamp niya dito. Yung ipitan dun sa may stand. We have the clamp kung saan natin nilalagay yung burette or test tubes. And the clamp stand kung saan natin pwede ilagay yung Erlenmeyer flask. Now, dito, ipapakita ko lang guys is sa may part na burette, eto siya. These are the clamp, titration flask, dito yung stand, and then the clamp, and then the balls. So, ganon. And then next is the litmus paper. Now, this is used to identify whether our sample is acid or base. Now, when we are using red litmus paper, i-dip nyo siya sa base, magiging blue. Pagka dinip nyo sa base, mananatiling red. Pero when we use blue litmus paper, i-dip nyo siya sa may acid, magiging red. Pero kapag base, mananatiling blue. And ito naman, this one is used. Since the litmus paper is only used, this one is red, it is only an indicator, but it does not provide a numerical value of the pH of our sample or liquid sample. Ang universal indicator paper natin is ipang-dip nyo lang siya in order to identify the pH of our substance. I-dip ninyo and compare the color of the indicator paper, and you will now have the value of your pH. However, it does not provide an accurate measurement for the pH of the solution. Ang usually ginagamit natin for accurate measurement ng ating pH is yung pH meter. It is an instrument na matatakal ninyo sa analytical chemistry. Now, that ends our presentation. I hope may natutunan kayo sa ating mga glasswares. Ito lang yung mga common glasswares na mga ginagamit natin sa may laboratory and apparatuses. At marami pang iba, marami kang na-encounter sa may laboratory class ninyo once na nagkaroon ng face-to-face classes. Now, again, thank you for listening and have a good day.